Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my next video. I feel like I start all these videos the same way, don't I? But today's video is about UEA accommodation, and I just thought I'd give a quick run over about all the different rooms and accommodation you can be put in or you can apply for when you're living on campus in halls for your first year of uni. We've got a little guest with us today. We have my lovely pup, who's not really a pup, he's nearly 12. Brady's with us. If you hear really loud breathing or snoring, it's Brady. He's not having any of it. I think he gets a bit sick of me. I'm a bit obsessive, aren't I? Okay, so today's video is about UEA accommodation, because I know when I first looked at UEA and looked at going to uni and stuff, the accommodation confused the living hell out of me. Like, I did not understand it at all. So I thought I'd give it's not going to be a quick video, but it's going to be a nice summary. I don't want to go into too much detail because obviously when you go to open days and that, they help more than anything. But kind of a nice summary on all the options of accommodation that is given to you when you are a first year at UEA. So living in halls is obviously optional, whether you live in halls, you commute to uni, whether you live straight in a student house, it's up to you. But I would recommend for your first year of university living in halls. You make so many new friends, it's such a good uni experience, social life, independent life, because you're kind of being eased into living on your own and that, but you've still got the security of the uni, of the cleaner, of the bin men, little things like that. So I'd really recommend for your first year of university to look at living in halls, but it is optional and it can get quite expensive, but I think it is worth every penny. Brilliant. So I'm just going to briefly go through like the options at UEA for accommodation, through the types of rooms that you get, because there's lots of different buildings at UEA are spread around campus for accommodation, but they have different types of rooms in. So I'm going to do it on room type and then just explain what buildings they are. Depending on your course can depend on the options that you get for your UEA accommodation because of your contract, the time of your contract. But for me, I had limited options because I'm a health science student. It doesn't limit it that much, and my contract was longer than like a normal like 48 week. Mine was like a 52 week or something like that, so just be wary of that when going onto the website. Depending on what you want to study will like depend on your options. All this information is on UEA website and I will put the link in the description below, and there is a nice chart on there as well that kind of goes through every accommodation and it kind of breaks it down really well. But then if you click on each accommodation, it will take you to a following page with more information. So this video is kind of just going to try and make sense of that, because for me, when I started at UEA and started applying for accommodation, it just confused me so much. Like, it's hard to make sense of what you're looking for, what you want, what's good pricing, what's the difference between the two, sort of thing. So I thought this would be quite a nice video to kind of break it down and try and make sense of it all for you. So with the accommodation at UEA and probably most unis, you'll have a bedroom, a toilet and a kitchen kind of dining area. All the kitchen dining areas come with the usual things that you expect it to, like fridges, freezers, microwaves, oven, hob, ironing board. You can get a vacuum. Some flats already have vacuums in, like my flat had a vacuum in, but a lot you can request it. Most will come with a cleaner. Your bins will be emptied. Bedrooms are pretty much like packed with all the same stuff. So you'll get your bed, you'll get a desk, you'll get a desk chair, you'll get a main light, you'll get a cupboard under the bed space, things like that. So all kind of general things that you would expect. When you move in, things that you want to take with you kitchen wise are things like cooking stuff, very specific things like pots and pans and that. You don't need to take a toaster, or my flat didn't come with a kettle, so we just brought 2 cheap ones, but it did come with a toaster, a hob, an oven, fridge, freezer. But you'll get a group chat with your flat before you go and you can organise what people are bringing, whether you're all bringing different things, whether you're all bringing the same. So I'll start with the bottom tier of rooms, which are the ensuite twin rooms. These are spread all around campus in all the different houses. You get your own ensuite, however you're sharing a room with one other person. So the average rooms per flat for an ensuite twin is 6 to 13, and again, like I've mentioned, it comes with a desk lamp, desk and chair, cleaner. It comes with a combination microwave and grill oven sort of thing. So whereas in some accommodations you get an actual oven and a grill and then a hob on top and then a separate microwave, in these ones you get a kind of combination one. one. Very mixed reviews I've heard. In my accommodation I had the normal oven, but this combination cooker, I think it's very hit and miss, but some people say it's fine, other people hate it, so just be prepared for that. Like I said, these are spread all around campus in like the house, which I'll go through later. This is the cheapest accommodation at UEA and it is £79.45 a week, which based on an average contract is around £3,132 a year. So next we go on to the standard twin room in the Ziggurat. You've probably seen the Zigs before, you've probably heard of them. They're quite like a famous part of UEA. And there's two, there's Norfolk Terrace and Suffolk Terrace, and these house like thousands, hundreds of students, I'm not sure on the total capacity. So the standard twin Zigs are a shared room, however you don't get an ensuite. So where in the ensuite twin you share the room and you share an ensuite, in the twin Zigs you share a room with one other person, but then you share a bathroom with the rest of your flat. There's around 12 rooms per flat in these ones. Again, it comes with all the same stuff. The only difference with this one is you have a wash basin in your room, which I've heard is really handy. Again, these have a combination oven and grill, so just be wary of that. And these standard twin Zig rooms, such a faff to say, are the same price as the standard twin ensuite. They are £79.45 a week, which comes to about £3,132 a year. So then we go on to the next tier, which is standard campus room. These are in two specific buildings on campus called Orwell and Waltham Close. I haven't personally been in these, but I've heard that they're fine. They're like your standard uni accommodation. I think the rooms in some of them are quite big. This is basically a standard room with all the same stuff like desk lamp, chair, bed, things like that. I think all the bed sizes are single, they're all the same in all accommodation, but these don't have an ensuite. These are shared bathrooms. So the average rooms per flat is between 5 and 12. So these are a bit more expensive. These are £94.22 a week, which is £3,714 on average a year. So it's a bit more expensive than the other ones, but they're kind of, you're not sharing a room with somebody, you're in the room on your own, so you've got your own private room, which I think is a bit nicer. So the next tier up is the standard Ziggurat room, which is also on campus in the Ziggurats, like I mentioned before. So rather than the shared rooms in the Zigs, these are your own room, but also shared bathrooms. So it works the same way as the other Ziggurat rooms, which are a bit cheaper because you're sharing. However, you've got your own privacy. Again, you've got your own wash basin in the room, cleaner, vacuum, ironing board, Wi-Fi, bed, storage, things like that. These are quite, what's the word, prestigious to stay in, I think is the word. I don't know. Everyone that comes to UEA has heard of the Zigs, have seen the Zigs, wants to go and see the Zigs, and they're really lovely because they look out onto the lake. They have massive windows with like lovely views out onto the lakes, and they're really good socially as well. So these are £118.09 a week, which is around £4,656 a year. So again, they're a step up from your sharing rooms and your standard campus rooms. One of my best friends stayed in them and he absolutely loved it. It's got a really good social life, really good reputation. So the next accommodation band up from the standard Ziggurat room is the standard Ensuite Village room. People get really confused when they come to open days or when they look on the website because they think, oh my gosh, where is the Village? Why is it off campus? Is it anywhere near UEA? Don't worry, the Village is literally across the road from UEA. On the website it says that it takes about 10 minutes to walk from the Village to the centre of UEA campus, but I really don't think it does. Well, I guess it depends on whether you get stuck at the crossing and how far you live down the Village and where the centre of campus is. Especially if you're speed walking, I definitely don't think it would take 10 minutes, probably around 5. So like I said, the Ensuite Village is literally just across the road from the back end near the sports park of UEA. The average rooms per flat for this is about 8. It is a single room and you have a ensuite. This ensuite is a shower pod with a toilet and a wash basin, like a sink, and a mirror. The room, the kitchen and the toilet all come with the same things and the same facilities as the others do. Just be wary that it doesn't come with a desk lamp though, so just be mindful that if you want to move into there, maybe bring a desk lamp if you need it. So Ensuite Village is £121.38 a week, which is about £4,785 a year. So again, it's a step up from the standard Ziggurat room. But again, the social life in the village is good as well, because you're all kind of like a little village community. It's quite nice. I say this about every accommodation though, that the social life's good. What? So the social life, depending on where you are, it really depends. Like, I've heard from a lot of students that it changes every year where the good social parties are and that. So for my year, which was last year, yeah, last year I was first year, it was Nelson Court. But for the year before that, it was the Ziggurats. And I think it changes every year, like where the good kind of social life is. But in the village, I think it's quite nice because you're all kind of like a little community and it's not far to walk. And yeah, the rooms are just a little bit nicer than that of the Zigs. So moving on from Ensuite Village, you then go on to Ensuite Village Plus, which is just like the step up from the standard Ensuite Village rooms. I think they're a bit bigger, a bit nicer, and I think they're a bit more modern. I think they're more newly built. The main thing to note again is that they don't come with a desk lamp, but also the main difference between the Plus and the standard village rooms is that the Plus doesn't have a combination oven. It has its own convection oven with the grill and then a separate microwave, so it's a lot easier to cook. There'll be about 8 of you per flat. This does change, but I don't think it matters how many people are per flat. I lived with 12 or 13 of us and it was fine. Like, obviously it comes with its issues. My best friend who goes to Sheffield, she lived with 4 other people, and again she said it was fine, but it comes with different issues. I don't think it really matters in the grand scheme of things. So this Ensuite Village Plus is just a little bit more pricey than the standard Ensuite Village rooms. So it is £143.29 a week, which yearly is £5,649 a year. So it's about £1,000 a year more than a standard Ensuite Village room. But I've personally never been to them, so I don't really know whether it's worth it, whether it's not. So I guess that's something you've just got to gauge on like the open days and when you go. The next bracket up from that is the Ensuite Campus, which is the most common accommodation at UEA and the one that holds the most students. It is spread in many different houses and buildings around campus. So if you hear things like Brown House, Kett House, Coleman House, Victory House, Britain House, there's quite a few. That is mostly for Ensuite Campus. So this room's about 6 to 13 people per flat, depending on where it is and stuff. A lot of the buildings are really quite big. I think the only really smaller ones are Kett and Brown House, which house about 8 flats, but they all come with pros and cons. So again, it comes with all the normal stuff. The only difference between the ensuite is that this one is more of a wet room rather than a shower pod. I don't know about you guys, but wet rooms make me cringe. They're all really lovely and the rooms are really nice. They're quite big, quite a lot of storage. The beds seem quite a lot bigger in Ensuite Campus than other accommodations as well, but I don't know whether that's just me. The kitchen, again, comes with all the same stuff. The only thing to note is that in Ensuite Campus, they are the combined convection and grill microwave ovens. Mostly, like, Ensuite Campus is really nice accommodation. You can make the rooms your own. And like the Zigs, you can have some really nice kitchens and rooms that look out onto the campus, look out onto the lake and all the hills and the fields behind campus. So the Ensuite Campus comes at £158.83 a week. So for the year it's £6,252. So again, a bit more than the Village Plus, but you're getting that perk of actually being on campus. A lot of the Ensuite campuses have really good social lives because they're big buildings. You're really close to the lake, the SU shop, the bar, the library, so they're really accessible. The only thing that can get a bit confusing with looking at the Ensuite campuses, and maybe on open day can confuse you a bit, because I know it did me, was Nelson Court. So Nelson Court is classed as an ensuite campus. You have your own bedroom and you have your own ensuite like you do the other rooms. However, Nelson Court, which is located at like more the front of the uni, like opposite the lake near the SU, is a townhouse. So rather than all the other flats being along, Nelson Court is upwards, so you have the kitchen at the bottom and then you have one floor of rooms, another floor of rooms, and so on. And Nelson Court is lovely. Obviously, again, comes with its pros and cons. I know for my year group it was where everyone wanted to live, but you can't specifically choose to be in Nelson Court. So when you apply online, which I'll go through in a little while, you can't put Nelson Court as one of your options. You will put Ensuite Campus. It's just luck whether you get put in Nelson Court, whether you get put in Britain House, Victory House, anything anything like that. You just apply for it as a whole Ensuite Campus kind of tier. So that's the only thing to note when things get a bit confusing, because I know on my open day I went and looked around the flats, and I looked around one of the normal Ensuite Campuses, then I looked around Nelson Court, and I thought they were two different accommodation choices, but they're not. They're all combined as Ensuite Campus. It's just a bit of a different layout. So then moving on from Ensuite Campus, we have the last and the top tier, which is the Hicklin and Barton houses. So these are the most expensive on campus, and they are really lovely. This is where I stayed, so I might be a bit biased, but when I went into uni and was looking around, I'm not afraid to admit this, I was really worried about where I was staying, my family, all of that, and I was a bit of a snob. Sounds bad, doesn't it? In the grand scheme of things, I don't think I needed to have gone into the uni thinking I want to be in the nicest accommodation, because at the end of the day it really does not make a difference, and there is pros and cons to all accommodation, and you make your accommodation what it is, and you make your room what you want it to be by pictures, fairy lights, plants, whatever. And also it really depends on the type of people you're put in a flat with as well. Just be wary when you're applying for accommodation to also think about the type of people you want to be with and the type of person that you are, because that's something I never really considered. I kind of just went into it thinking I want the nicest accommodation and that. I made some really good friends from my flat. I have 3 of my bestest friends from my flat and from the flats next door, but in the grand scheme of things, a lot of my flat wasn't the type of people that I would associate myself with, that we really got on really well, because we didn't. But that will happen. Be warned that you won't get put in a flat of everybody that you love and everybody that's like you. It won't always be great. So back to Hicklin and Barton, they have between 4 and 12 people per flat. This really depends. I had 12 in mine. It was absolutely fine. So again, it's ensuite. The rooms are a little bit smaller than the other accommodations, but they're a lot more modern. I think this accommodation's only been open 4 years. Some of the rooms are bigger than others, so when you actually look at the building, which I will put a picture, some of the rooms come out like that, and you get like a little, we call it a balcony, but it's not really a balcony. It's kind of like a little bit of extra space at the end of the room. So just be wary that some will stop at the window, some will get that little bit of extra space. There's 2 buildings. You've got Hicklin one side and Barton the other, and then you have the laundrette in the middle. It's not the only laundrette on campus. The laundrette is spread. There's ones all around campus, and you can get into any with your campus card. So again, it comes with all the normal stuff. You get a nice desk light, a mirror, bed, storage under the bed, a cupboard, storage in the desk. The ensuite is a little pod. It's an actual like little pod, like the walls are all like waterproof. It's really cool and modern. An actual shower with a shower curtain, toilet and a sink with a nice light up mirror. With all the other accommodations you get a cleaner. The cleaner comes twice a week. So for me in Hicklin, they came on a Tuesday and a Thursday, I think, and your bins get cleaned once a week. So I think that is the same with all accommodation. You'll get the cleaner come in twice a week. So the thing with Hicklin and Barton as well is that most accommodations will only have like a dining seating area with actual chairs and a table, but Hicklin and Barton have an actual like lounge as such area with soft seating, which is really nice actually. It is the most expensive on campus. Based on for next year's intake, which is September 2020, it is £170 a week, which for a shorter term contract is £6,733 a year. So it is a massive jump from the other bands, especially the lower bands. It is a lot more expensive. However, one thing to note is it also has normal ovens. So like Ensuite Village Plus, it's one of the only accommodations that has a normal oven separate to a microwave, so it comes with its own microwave. Other things to note with accommodation is there's quite a lot of like overlap and stuff. So I know that some Nelson Court flats have kitchens like Hicklin and Barton, but some don't. And I know there is Chrome Core accommodation, which I think is linked under the Hicklin and Barton. However, Chrome Core is just for postgraduates. So that is the tiers of the accommodation at UEA. I'll run through them quickly again. So the bottom tier is an ensuite twin room at £79.45 a week. Then we go up to the standard twin ziggurats, which is just kind of the same but in the zigs, which is the same price at £79.45 a week. Then you come up to the standard campus rooms, which is £94.22 a week. Then you go up to the standard ziggurats, which is £118.09 a week. Then you go up to the Ensuite Village, which is £121.38 a week. Then you go up to Ensuite Village Plus, which is £143.29 a week. And then you go up to Ensuite Campus, which is the most popular accommodation. That's now £158.83 a week. And then the top tier is Hicklin and Barton, which is £170 a week. So I hope that kind of clarifies all of that. And so when you come to applying for the accommodation, you understand what each of the tiers are, the pricing and what they include. Like I said, some of the buildings have a mixture of things in. At UEA, there is also some adapted flats that you can get if you have special requirements. There is also premier accommodation which you can request, and then there is also off-campus accommodation which is in the city. This off-campus accommodation is independent to the uni, I think. I don't know whether you apply through the uni or you apply privately. However, it's based in the city, and I'm not going to go into it too much because again it's all covered on the website and I personally don't know much about this private accommodation. A single ensuite is £166 a week, and then you can have the choice of having a studio flat, which I guess is just a flat to yourself with kitchen and stuff, which ranges between £185 and £188 a week. I'm pretty sure that if you stay in this accommodation, it includes a bus pass for the year to get to and from UEA, so you're not spending stupid amounts on buses from the centre of Norwich to campus. But just be mindful that there is other options to what I've gone through. But again, I will put the link in the description below. No YouTube video will give you the full-on feel of uni accommodation. I want to emphasise, go to the open days, spend your time looking around accommodation, because accommodation is such a big part in going to uni and being a first year. Take notes, make pros and cons lists. That's what I did. Look at your money situation. There is a lot to kind of factor in when looking at accommodation. So when applying for accommodation, you will apply for the uni and then you will apply for your accommodation before you've got your place, I think. So you'll do your UCAS, you'll get offered a place, and then you sort out your accommodation, and it's all done online. So for UEA, I just got an email through telling me to fill out my preferred choices, and you just list your choices that you want from 1 to 7 or 1 to whatever. 1 being the accommodation that you most want to live in, and 7, for example, being the one that you least want to live in. So it's order of preferences. Rumours have it it's first come first serve, all of this, but I really don't think it works like that, and I really think it's just hit and miss. Most people will get the accommodation that they put for number 1. A lot of people will get the accommodation they put for number 2, but then it is rare that you will get anything between them choices. Hicklin and Barton is a lot harder to get than the other accommodations. I know quite a lot of people rejected from Hicklin and Barton because it is the most limited, and because it's the nicest, you'll get a lot of people applying, but there's not that many options. It doesn't hold that many students. So you will put your preferences 1 to 7 and send it off to the uni, and then once you get accepted to the university on results day and that, they will then contact you with an offer for accommodation, and you will then accept or reject that offer, and then you can get put in a group chat with your flat. If you've accepted, get to know your flat before moving in, which is such a big thing, and it helps so much. On move-in day, you will go to the sports park and collect your key, and you will move into your flat. So it really isn't as complex as people make out. It is just filling out a form, putting your filling out a form, putting your preferences in, and just waiting for your offer through for accommodation. I know a lot of my flat, because I didn't take a gap year, so I had to wait till results day, but a lot of my flat did take a gap year, so they had an unconditional for the uni, and I know that they got their offer for my flat months before I got mine. Just be wary that some people will get their offer really soon, some people won't, depending on their circumstances. I don't think it's on a first come first serve basis, but it's always good to get your accommodation and your preferences in as soon as possible, just in case it is. So yeah, I hope that gave you a nice quick overview of the different accommodation options at UEA. Obviously it can be quite confusing, so take your time to try and understand it. Go to the open days, do a lot of research online, watch lots of YouTube videos, look at lots of pictures, write a pros and cons list, take in a lot of factors to consider. Don't take the decision lightly. I hope that made a lot more sense, and I will add in images, and I'll put the link to all the accommodation stuff online in the description. If you have any questions about UEA as accommodation, UEA in general, uni, nursing, anything like that, just drop me a comment, DM me on Instagram, message me in any form, and I will get back to you and try and help you as much as possible. Like, subscribe and comment, and as per usual, let me know any videos that you want to see, anything else you want to know about the uni. And please try and get sharing this page, because I want to make these videos to try and help people going to uni, thinking about going to uni, looking at UEA, looking at nursing, things like that. So it would be good to kind of like start sharing this channel a bit more. I hope you are all staying well. I hope you are all staying home, and I will see you in my next video.